All right. Welcome to another episode of Mind Brain Movies. I am your Sherpa into the Mind Brain Hope. And we're back at it with more bosses in the workplace breakdowns. And we're going to compare, contrast everything at the end and everything in between. But today I have joining with me is my co host, Dr. Gremlin Liz.
Sup?
I never know with you, like, if you're going to do like sup or just like this long tangent. I can never tell. It's always one or the other. Uh,
Depends on how how entertained I am with something else. I'm trying to take down this note because otherwise I will forget. Um, but yeah, that's why I just went with sup because. But if I'm like fully on paying attention, I don't know. Things happen.
things happen. So last episode, the couple of things we did Leslie Nope for last episode. We did a breakdown of her. So if you want to check out the Leslie Nope episode, I will have that listed in the show notes
Oh
below.
yes, yes. But the one before that was also Captain Holt, so don't forget to check that one out as well.
Yes.
Mm.
And also, you definitely have to check out the Leslie Nope one though, because I introduced everyone to my new baby hedgehog, and everyone has to see her. So if you want
She's
to check her
adorable.
out, her name is Snuffkin. So if you want to check her out and see my hedgehog, definitely that's my clickbait for the episode. The last episode is hedgehog. So
you know, I, I'm not even mad because I think normally I would have gone with like not even me, like how funny and hilarious I am, like not that. But no, I get it. Yeah, you should go specifically to go see the hedgehog. Yeah.
little Snuffkin, we call her Snuffy whenever. Oh, or as my boyfriend says, the spicy gerbil. But yeah, today we're gonna break down Ron Swanson. This honestly is gonna be such an interesting episode, I think, because he's an amazing person, but I'm not sure about how he is as a boss all the way through. So
So part of my concern because I think in the last episode I was like, we're gonna rank them, see who's the one's the winner, and then I was like, wait a minute, because then I was looking at Leslie's like scores and then Captain Holt's because I have them in like the same document, and I
yeah,
was like, they both have like pretty high scores, and I was like, I don't like it's gonna be like really close, and now this one, no, we're good. Like we're gonna be good
I
because
mean,
a lot
they
of
all
things are not going to be very high
right.
for
And
this.
then for future episodes, I would like to do like Michael Scott from The Office and as well as Dr. Cox and Dr. Kelso from Scrubs. So those are going to be some interesting scores as well.
I
Um
know nothing about those shows, so I will not be joining Hope for those. I'm just kidding.
you will be there whether cuz we need
Will there be cookies?
I just said I'm sending you cookies.
Okay, sold. I am going to be there, you guys. Would I be participating and doing stuff? Probably. Would it be on topic? No. No, it will not.
I think Mark might be joining us for those episodes.
Oh, okay,
So
good. Because I was like, I'm not going to be of any help then.
yeah, I recorded with Mark the other day about something else,
Uh,
and I was like, "So I'm doing these," and Liz straight up said, "Yeah, I don't do The Office," and I was like, And I know you haven't really watched Scrubs, even though I think you would love Scrubs. I know
Well,
you
I
haven't
think
really
that's the
watched it.
one that I'm kind of like open to watching. It's just not that I don't like The Office, is that I just think it's not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
In terms of like the sense of humor of it, because I've seen like I love the memes and like the little clips and stuff, but I don't know if
Mhm.
I can sort of like sit there and watch like episodes. I tried
Mhm.
before.
That's fair enough.
But
But
that was
I gotta
back when I was younger, so it might be a little bit different now.
maybe. Well, you have my
Yeah,
login, so
yeah.
give it a shot.
I
I
mean,
will
no, we
say,
don't share stuff like that.
oh, what are you talking
We
about? I
don't
don't know.
we don't do that. Anyway, today we're talking about Ron.
I was just about to say, yeah, we're talking about Ron Swanson today. And just like before, we're going to we have the different categories. We're going to rank him in said categories and just give our feedback on how he is as a boss. And is it good for the workplace or is it not? And
You
on
know, I
that
was watching.
note,
I was watching. Uh, Again, I didn't. I have seen Parks and Rec, but I've. It was a while ago, and I didn't have time to like binge watch the whole thing. So I just went on YouTube and I watched a bunch of like little clips and stuff.
yeah.
And one of the ones that kept coming up is uh oh yeah, it was when uh, who's like Ron's boss? Like he comes in afterwards. What's his name
Oh,
again?
Chris Traeger.
Yeah, yeah. When he comes into the picture, he's kind of telling Ron like, "Yo, you need to be like a boss, right?" And
Hmm.
then so uh Chris also has sort of like these ideas of what's gonna work, but he doesn't really know the people, so things don't really work out the way
Hmm.
he plans them. And then so Ron's like, "What have you done? You made everyone sort of like useless, essentially, right?" And then that made me think of this is a Parks and Recs episode, but I have also been watching a lot of clips from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So that one part with like Terry and Captain Hulk, they just like
Oh, like
do experiments on
organized.
everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. It made me think of that and I was like, actually I think if like my boss did something like that, I don't know if I would necessarily be mad about that.
Right.
Yeah. I think I just
But that
yeah.
episode with Ron, that was a great example of anyway, we'll get into it when it comes up. But
Mm.
yeah. So let's start out. Let's start out with the bang. Let's get on target. Let's get on course. Let's do this.
I always am. I don't know what you're referring to. So if you have not watched the previous episodes where we have discussed other bosses and you're like, I don't wanna, and only watching this episode for some reason. So what we do is we have a
If you have a
list of
Ron Swanson fetish and nothing else.
we have a list of like or the what is it, skills, attributes of
The attributes
thingies,
of what we think would surmise like a good
a
boss.
good boss, yeah, or like not necessarily boss, but like a leader, and
Yeah.
like leadership qualities. There you go.
That
And
thing.
then we just score them from 1 to 10, 10 being like the most, like just they have lots of it.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so that's what we're doing. So to start it all off, we are talking about active listening. And now all I can think about is that one time when Ron got that circular desk and then he was just like
Swivel.
running, like moving
Ti-
around.
tiny swivel. And sir, I had your water. And he's like, slowly just like screwing in
No,
lady.
wasn't there also this like one episode where like I think this was like later on, and again I didn't watch the whole episode, but there was that scene where like everyone gets together in Ron's office to complain about, but they just complain about everything, and then Ron's just has this like noise canceling headphones, and like he's like, I'm not listening, just give me more food. Ah.
Yeah. And he's like, I love this rectangle. And he's like jamming out to Willie Nelson. Yeah.
Yeah, so probably not a good score on
Oh,
that.
this is why this is the funny thing. Like, I have a feeling Ron's gonna score very badly, but I love him so much.
Well,
Like,
I think you said it earlier. Like as a person, he's like great. As a boss, not so much. And I think a lot of it has to do with
he hates the
um
government. He's literally
yeah.
there's literally one episode he's like, I will dive deeper into the belly if it means I can mess with the government more. He's like, I have certain small ideas like get rid of post office, get rid of stop signs. But the greater things that are gonna be tricky is tearing this whole operation down. Like just getting rid of the government.
I was overhearing my brother. He was watching like a YouTube video of somebody describing this like really horrible like cartoon or something, and they were just talking about Ron, and of course I was like, what? And part of what they said was that Ron hates the government, but the reason that he hates the government is because he thinks the government is incompetent. And I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I think so too. Like, I never really thought about it. I just thought it was like hilarious how much he hated the government. Um, but yeah, like after they said that, I was like, yeah, that's like a great way to summarize like his
Yeah.
relationship with the government, because once he saw like people in government doing something that was good and he believed in, he was all in for it. Like he didn't really care, right? And even
Oh
at the
yeah.
beginning, didn't he say that he hired Leslie because
She
he
cared.
believed, yeah, she cared. He's like, I don't
He said,
really care about the things you care about, but I
right.
I like you. You're a good
Yeah,
person,
he
so I
was
will
like,
hire you.
"You're a
Yeah.
giant pain in the ass, but you actually care." And that's why I
Yeah.
hired you.
Yeah. So
So, anyways, I would say in what was the first one? I'm sorry.
active listen. Clearly, you don't listen to me, Hope. Wow.
Turn the tables on you this time.
this whole
Turn the
time, I was
tables on
just
you.
this whole time I was just like making notes. Because wait, I'm trying to keep track of all of the things, and I have one for you as well.
Oh
So
God.
tread lightly.
Oh God.
Hope active listening 0. Wait, so what would you give him then?
Uh, for active listening, I would say I would give him a 5 because he does know people like who he immediately surrounds himself with, like immediately. Because he does know like their characteristics, how they are, how they act. But again, it's within his tiny bubble, you know. So otherwise he just doesn't care.
Well, I think part of it because in the last episode we're talking about Leslie, and look, like Leslie's very career driven, and she had big goals that she wanted to accomplish. And I think Ron is more. If I had to compare him to sort of like a superhero, I would say more like Spider Man, where he's
He's
happy
like
just helping
status
his
quo.
community.
Yeah, he's very
Yeah,
status quo.
yeah.
Where yeah, Leslie's like an Avenger and he's like one of the defenders.
I-
Like you know how
yeah.
the defenders like focalize around like New York City, Hell's Kitchen, whereas the Avengers are like worldwide. Like that's how I would compare.
Yeah, yeah.
Still both great. They do great work. They both have their things, but like he's more focused on like his immediate circle.
But also I think he was just more passionate about sort of like parks than people.
Nature,
Cause
honestly.
yeah, it he's not great with people. I don't know if
No,
anybody noticed.
no, not at all.
And even at the end, because this we are scoring them like from the beginning to the end, sort of like it's
Hmm.
an average score for everything. And even though he did grow and he added more people into his life, still it wasn't a big change. It was
Right. Like
still
that's why I say it's a 5, because I think that's like
yeah,
peak Ron is 5.
yeah, yeah. Agreed, agreed. Decision making.
Decision making, I would say I would want to give him like a 7 for decision making because he knows what he wants. You know, he will make that decision to do stuff. Now, and when he has to decide, he will decide. But sometimes he doesn't want to decide. So like he'll already have his decision, but sometimes he's like, I don't want to be involved. Like so like if he has to be involved, he'll be like, "Oh, fine. Here's what you do." But at the same time, he's like, "Leave me out of this." So it's like a weird so that's why I want to give him a 7.
So the way that I think about Ron is like he has this very strict code that he follows. He said
Yes.
like these are my rules, and in a sense it's like actually fantastic because one of the things that I talk to my clients about is that if we don't have sort of like an idea of what our values are, we're gonna get
Mhm.
lost, right?
Yes.
And if even if we do have an idea, sometimes we forget about what our values are, and then we get swept in with other things, and then we
Mhm.
eventually don't do anything, right? So, like, he is very set. He knows what his values are, and he does everything he can. And like everything, every decision, everything he makes comes from the, except when he has to do with his like ex-wives, that's not a thing. Like everything goes
We're
out
not
the
gonna
window.
even go into that.
but but other than
But
that, like
even
he does, like, every decision is based on the things that he values.
yes, very much so.
Uh Wait, were you gonna say
No,
something?
no, no, I'm just
Oh.
like stuck on like him and his Tammys, their flings, and I do love the fact. Like side note, the person who plays Tammy too, his ex-wife
Oh.
Tammy too,
Just
it's his actual real life wife.
no way, I
So
didn't know that.
yeah, so it's his actual real life wife, and that's why like you see them go crazy sexual like for TV standards on it because he's literally like I get to my wife, like like
Well, that explains what she came back. Wait, so one thing I don't really remember is, like, did we ever see Tammy one?
yes, there was one episode where we saw her.
Oh, okay, because like I think there was like a couple of like clips that I was watching where like it was like just her back and everybody was just like running away from her.
Yes, there was one episode where she came in, and she was her. It was the same. It was actually the same episode where we got to see Ron's mom as well. That was a treat of an episode.
Um, Wait, you said you give him a 7, right?
Yes,
For decision
correct.
making? I,
Yes.
I think I would go, and if anything, like at 8 or a 9 maybe, because like I said, like he
Okay.
has his decisions, and like you said, like sometimes he doesn't want to get involved, but that is his decision. Like he immediately
Hmm.
knows what he wants and what he doesn't want.
Okay,
Uh
so let's do an 8. I'll meet you in the middle. Go for an 8.
yes, I'm right. I had a whole speech prepared and I totally forgot it now because you said 8, and I was like, okay, it doesn't matter. You agree with me. Um, so you all at home watching this just have to imagine me having an amazing comeback as to, like, proof as to why it should be an 8 or a 9.
In the comments
And yeah,
below, just draw us photos of
like
like
fill
what
in the blank of what I was gonna say. Yeah.
either fill in the blank or like send us photos of like what you imagined our epic battle would be.
And who would win? It was me,
Right.
of course. Empathy.
Oh god. um so again, he does empathize with his tiny like it's so he has the parks department bubble and then his like empathy bubble's even smaller. I feel
Hmm.
like his empathy bubble is literally only Leslie, April, and Andy,
Mm.
and then eventually his new wife.
And the
But
kiddos, yeah.
yeah, but like adult wise, it would be like Leslie, April, Andy, and his new wife. I I think so. He will empathize with them because like there was one episode where Andy's like, "Oh, well, I can't go take this college course because I don't have the money, maybe if I take up a second job, then I can do it." And then he's like, "Andy, you have now been awarded the Ron Swanson Scholarship Fund to take a college class." And he's like, "But I didn't apply." He's like, "Son, take the money." Like so, you know, and he will do that, and so I feel like he does empathize with his
His
tiny,
people.
tiny group. His tiny group.
Yeah.
Now, once you get outside that group, he's just like, bro, where am I? Like, um,
Again, it comes from the fact that a lot of the times he just doesn't really care, and like as we
yeah,
talked about, like he cares a lot more about nature, um than people. And like, given how he grew up and all of the things that happened to him, I was like, yeah, no, bro, like you have been screwed over. You have like horrible experience. I totally get
Yes.
it. I am
So
with you.
so I would give him like a 5 for empathy just because it's so limiting.
Same, same. I was thinking, I was like, just like at the end of the show, I feel like he got to the 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's not clicking. All right, 5. The next one is self-awareness.
I would say he's very honestly, he's actually very self-aware of well,
Except with his, I will give him like an 8 or a 9, only because when he's with his ex-wives, he's not. But
that's
other than that,
exactly.
he is like the best example of being self-aware.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was literally gonna say with his ex-wives, I'm like, depending upon which ex-wife he's with, he's either sex
Loses his
crazy.
mind.
Yes, he's
When
either
he
like
got like
sex
cornrows, they ended up in
as
prison. That's so
As
funny.
Leslie said with Tammy too. He just becomes a sex crazed maniac. With Tammy one, he's a neutered wimp. Like so something about like the brain chemistry with his wife throws it off. But yeah, I'll give him like an 8 for his self-awareness. He's docked from a 10 because for each one of his
Because
ex-wives.
his wives, yeah.
A point per wife.
Because it's like it would have been half a point, but he goes like extreme.
Extreme.
Like he swings. Yeah. Um. Okay. What's the next one? Communication skills.
2.
Well, really? Because no, I was immediately thinking probably like a 9 or an 8, because he, again, he's very like, he will tell you. Okay, so I have this
For
love hate relationship with people that say, I just tell you how it is. Because a lot of the times, no, you're not telling me how it is, you're just being rude and mean, right?
yeah.
But I feel like Ron does tell it how it is.
He so he does. I think I was thinking of an example. He's like, I don't do what people tell me to do. When I my marriage ceremony took 6 hours because when the minister
He wouldn't say
said
I.
repeat after me, I fell silent. You know. um I okay. Let me rephrase that. I don't think it's a 2. I don't, but I don't think it's high either. I would say like I would say like a I would say it's like a 6 because while he is very direct with what he wants, he's very also very short. So he might be they might be like, "Oh, Ron, do you want to do this?" He'll be like, "No." And like that's his answer, yes, but he'll never explain why. He's just like, "No," and like walk off, you know.
Well, I mean, but that's, again, like in my head, I'm like, he doesn't. A lot of the times we over explain ourselves when we don't have to. Like, because the question was like, do you want to? He doesn't want to. Like, now, if there was like a follow up question and then he didn't answer it,
But
then
that's what he
maybe.
does. Like sometimes people be like, "But why, Ron?" And he's like, and they won't even answer. He'll just like walk off, or just like how he'll tell he. There's one scene where he like told Anne something like he was like, "Oh, good for you, Anne," and she's like, "Should I go?" And he's like, "You're still here?" Like,
All right, fine, fine. He can be a little cryptic sometimes. All right, cool, cool. So, okay, not a 9, but 7.
7.
Okay, okay. In this next one, I want to give him a 10, only because he doesn't actually do any work.
Oh god.
Delegation. Like,
Actually, yeah, on you legit 10 because he delegates everything to everyone. Like, it's funny. He's like because he delegates everything to Leslie. So like, so legit is a 10. He's a master delegator because he doesn't do shit. Like even
yeah.
April, his assistant, he delegate even if it's like to do stupid stuff. He still delegates her to do stupid
No,
stuff.
I was thinking that. I was like, he even like hired April because he wanted to delegate someone, like telling people, no, I don't want to do work, or I don't want to be with you. So
Yeah, he's
yeah,
like, April, what's on my schedule? Well, I told them to come back on June 71st. Good job. Like,
I love that. I think I watched this one clip where like that was after like she learned her lesson, because I think at first she said that made it like May 31st or like March 31st or something,
yeah, and it
because she
was
thought
like
it
she didn't
was
set
like
that
real
day. Yeah.
yeah, and he's like, so how many appointments do I have? 72 or something. That was great.
Ah! He's a
Yeah.
master delegator. Yes, he is a master delegator.
um, yeah. Decisiveness.
He decisiveness. Again, I gotta dock him points for the ex-wives. Uh,
Same, same.
gotta dock him
Yeah.
points for the ex-wives. I feel like that's like his extra, eh, like those are gonna be like the outliers, the
Eh,
outliers for.
yeah, because I think he did. I think because this one scene where like doesn't he like Leslie volunteers to go with him to break up with Tammy too, and
Or
it's like she wanted to be here. Yeah, but like he just kind of like avoids sort of like doing anything about his ex-wives. Like he just kind of like avoids them. Yeah, which I guess
uh,
that's a decision, but still not not really.
but he also is. There's very little for him to be decisive about, though, as well. Like,
Because he delegates everything to
that's what I'm saying.
someone
So
else.
it's like I gotta give him a low score because when it comes down to it, he doesn't decide much. Like,
Well, no, he decided to delegate these tasks.
I-
Well, but I
no,
think when he does make a decision or when he's forced to, he does. He's very decisive. I
yeah.
think for the most part, he just kind of is living off of the paycheck that he gets from the government for doing nothing. But like, okay, part of me, I'm not gonna lie, is like, okay, listen,
That's him
that is a
stealing from the
genius.
government
That's a genius move because
because he doesn't need the money because he's apparently like a fucking millionaire with gold or some shit.
oh, when he buried gold in like some tree or something. Yeah, yeah, I remember that.
So like he's like I said I would never be a. Or there was one episode where he was making the will for his wife and kids,
Uh
and
huh.
Ben was like going over it. He's like, this is like generational wealth money, Ron. And he's like, is it? I don't know. Like, and like it's so cryptic, like how much it is, but I'm guessing it's like multi-million, you know?
Uh huh.
And he's like, I promise not to be a miser or spoil my kids. And he's like, Ron, you're not going to spoil your kids if you just leave it in the will. Like, what the hell? He's like, no, the man who kills me has the right to it. And he had like left a note. Like,
No, I think that the other one is uh I think it was might have been the same episode where they were helping him like do his taxes or something, and then they were like, "Wait, you spent like $70 in like the past 5 years like on clothes?" And he said like, "Yeah."
yeah.
And then like he has like a bunch of episodes which is like, "If you're a man, you just make it yourself." So like he saves a lot of money.
Oh, and he's like, well, I see here you spend $60 a month on cigarettes and ammo. And he's like, yes, I send it home to my mother. And they're like, oh, mama's boy. He sends his mom cigarettes and ammo.
That's good. And let's be honest, he probably hunts all his meat.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Um. Wait. So what's the
Decisiveness.
final score?
Let's do 7. Just say 7.
Okay. Creativity.
Oh, that's a
Honestly,
2.
0.
That's a.
Really? You wait? Why would you even give him points for that?
Did you see his cornrows?
That wasn't him. That was Tammy. Tammy told him to do that. No, but okay, listen. I do okay, maybe yes, I will give him 2 because he does do a lot of like the woodwork and that takes some
Hmm.
creativity and stuff. So okay, fine. I'll give
He
him a
does
2.
it. He has
I'll
his
give him 2.
woodworking shop, and like he has to hunt and make traps, and like he's like a doomsday prepper. You have to be creative with that. Like when Tammy 1 came around, and he had like hidden traps everywhere of like his little stockpiles, and like
Yeah. So when he needs to, he can get creative. Okay.
yeah.
All right. Accountability.
I I'm surprised we're actually giving him higher scores than I thought we would. Uh, accountability. He's
Well, okay, listen again because he has all the, like the building blocks to be a good leader. He just doesn't do anything with them.
exactly
That's a
exactly.
problem. Yeah. And I don't know, but we might be a little bit biased because we love him so much. Maybe,
I
maybe.
know that's the thing. We love him so much. But he is very accountable. Like if something happens, he will own up to it, and he's like one perfect episode. April was like, "Why'd you put your address to this here?" When he like wrote a hate note to like an ice cream shop, or like it was a froyo shop. He's like, "Be ice cream or nothing at all," and he like signed Ron Swanson and sent it off. And like he was like, "Dear Canada, be something better than Canada." Like so like he's very accountable because he leaves like he like signed his name and address, or like the his office address, but
Well,
and he doesn't
uh,
shy from like
well, because I think last time we were talking about like Leslie taking too much accountability, and I feel like for Ron, like all the accountability that Leslie takes, Ron doesn't really take. Because he like the thing
there's
the
nothing
same
for him to
example.
take because
No. Yes, there is because like the same example that I gave with Leslie, like the broken machine.
yeah.
Well, he
Oh
was
no, because he was like, oh, that was because he if it
he
was
just
for
wanted to
any
cause chaos.
exactly, he was like, because he admitted it. He's like, yeah, I did it, but they were getting too chummy. So that was the only reason why. If it was like, if he did it, if it was like actually something major, he would be like, okay, yeah, I
Oh,
did it.
okay. What about like an 8 or a 9 then?
I'll
Maybe
do
more
eight.
like an
I'll do
8.
eight.
Yeah,
I'll do
yeah.
eight.
Because when he is asked to, like when Chris again, when Chris showed up and he was like, "Bro, you need to do this as a whatever," then he
He
would
did do it.
take his
Yeah.
own way, in his own way, but it was highly appreciated.
Yeah.
Yeah, confidence.
Oh, bro is confident as hell.
But I'm gonna again go with the Nate. 1 point less for each wife.
No, he's still very confident with Tammy too. I think it would only be, I'd give him a 9. He's not confident with Tammy 1.
True. Because he
I'll give
does
him an
stand up to Tammy too. That okay, fine. I'll go with a 9 too. Okay. Flexibility.
Okay, now we're getting into low score territory. I've been noticing a trend. Like all of our people have low flexibility.
Well, there's something I want to discuss with you at the end of this episode about Leslie and Ron, but that's at
Okay,
the end of
yeah,
the
yeah,
episode. So
yeah.
stay tuned.
um, I would say I would give him a 2 as well. Like we're gonna keep doing twos because like even
I
though he,
I would give him like a 1
well,
because
no,
he
I'm saying 2 because of the things he was like forced to do. He still did it. Like he didn't have to do a yoga retreat with Chris. He didn't have to, but he
no,
reminded them
wait, can
of
we
it.
talk about the yoga? Because he was that's another clip I really want to clip because he was like all we stayed there for 6 hours and all I did was nothing. And I was like, bro, that's like the perfect meditation. He's like it did nothing for me, and I was like, yeah, because you meditate all the time, just in a different way.
You're always like, dude, you're already so zen. You don't know.
Yeah, that was great. Wait, what are we talking about? Oh yeah, flexibility.
flexibility. So like he does do it, and he will like
But I think it's one of the things that he only does for the people that he cares about, right? And
mhm.
like I in general, like even at the end, he still wasn't as flexible in a lot of things.
Okay, so a 1. We'll give him a 1.
Yeah, yeah. Um, uh, Collaboration, also a one.
I was going to say yeah, that's another low one cuz he hates people, so why would he collaborate with them?
And I think I only gave him like a one because he does collaborate again with the people that he cares about.
Exactly, but it's
Yeah.
again, it's his tiny circle of people.
Hmm. And it's on and and it's when he is forced to do
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Yes.
Resilience.
He is quite resilient.
I would give him a 10 because listen, if he managed to survive Tammy 1 and divorce her and avoid her for all the time, like he is the most resilient anyone can ever be.
Yes. Oh gosh, yeah. And not just that, but like he does bounce back from a lot of things, and I I just think of the episode with his newest wife and her 2 kids, and they like destroy the office. They like beat him down and like colored him, and you just see him with his drink, and he's like shaking like
He's just taking shot after shot. Yeah.
and if he can survive that, bro's good. Bro's good.
Yeah, true, true. Yeah. He survived. I mean, again, like you were saying, he's like a survival, like doomsday, like prepper. So yeah,
Yeah.
a 10. Experience.
Experience? I'm
Wait,
gonna
hold on,
say
Hope. I'm gonna interrupt you
okay.
because I think we need to celebrate just for a little bit the fact that we have two more to go through, and it's only 37 minutes of
I
us recording.
know. I'm so
So
proud of us.
we're doing
So
so
let's
good.
take 10 minutes to celebrate.
We have to make it even. Let's go on a tangent, a bunch of tangents.
Yeah.
I think you know what,
We'll call
because
the
he's a lot.
tangent not doing tangents.
Uh, this is our celebration. This is how we celebrate not being tangential. Uh, Now we give ourselves permission to go on tangents.
Right,
But
exactly.
because I feel like, wait, no, in my brain, this whole episode is gonna be me going on tangents and just talking about like the funny bits that Ron was in because he's uh, for this list. I feel like he is a very clear. Again,
Yeah.
he's like one of those characters where like these things are like very very clear, and
Mhm.
it's either like really good or not.
Really bad, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, back to it. Experience.
Uh his experience is very limited in a sense. Like again, he when it comes to like handyman and woodworking and things like that, he is a 10 out of 10, but anything outside of that I feel is like a 5.
Yeah, very similar to Leslie. On the things that they're very interested in, they have a lot of experience and they're
Mhm.
like masters at that craft. But outside
Yeah.
of it, they couldn't care less. So yeah, did you say five?
I would say overall like a 5 or a 6.
Yeah, five.
5. We'll go with 5.
And I think maybe the next one might be in a very similar vein.
The
Knowledge.
knowledge. Yeah, I would say the same
Yeah.
thing with him as knowledge cuz like but also like I'm not saying Ron's dumb by any means, but he's also like not necessarily like book smart either. Like Leslie's also very book smart, but like he's more
Well,
like
Braun is
practical
more
smart.
yeah, more
He's
practical.
more
Yeah.
practical, like survivalist smart.
Yeah. Well, I think you know the way that I will say it. It's not necessarily knowledge. I think Ron is wise. more
Yes, he's
often.
the wise old hermit of the woods.
Yeah, so it's not, again, in order to be wise you still need to have some knowledge, but again,
Mhm.
it's derived primarily of the things that he cares about. So yeah,
So
that
fun.
is it.
And that was the
That
last
is,
one?
yeah.
Holy
Look
crap.
at us, 40 minutes. Oh my gosh.
So what was the thing where you wanted to compare Ron and Leslie though?
I didn't want to compare them. I just want to talk about how neurodivergent they are. And I think that's
Mm.
why it was so easy to score them, because they swing really hard in one direction or the other. There isn't a lot of like in the middle for them.
This is true. Like I feel like Captain Holt there was a lot more middle ground than they were.
Yeah, yeah, for Holt for sure. Yeah. But and I think, I mean, maybe a little bit has to do with Holt was also dealing with a lot of like serious
Mhm.
issues. Um and I think Parks and Rec was more like just a fun sort of
Mhm.
show. It
Yeah.
did have some like serious topics that they discussed, but they didn't really dive into them.
Mhm.
So I think Holt kind of, because of his job, he kind of had to be a bit more well-rounded, I
Yeah.
think.
I
Yeah.
agree. For sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
That's it.
I
That's
have nothing.
it.
I just kept thinking about it because I was like, yeah, it all makes sense. Like, so my brother was really upset the other day. There is this streamer that he follows who openly talks about being autistic, and I think he was being slammed on Twitter
Mm.
for not understanding social boundaries. And then my
Mm.
brother was like, bro, what do you think autism is? Like, what, like, because he was just so upset about like how hard people were being on him for
Mhm.
something that it could have been essentially just an email being like, hey bro, this isn't cool, like, you know, these are why you can change, right? Like,
Right.
just people were taking it as like he just went out of his way to do all these things. It's like, and then I think David just feels very particular about um people who are like neurodivergent and like big picked on, because not
Oh
something that
yeah.
they can help. Yeah.
Like my boyfriend his brother is autistic and he's like
Mm,
he's mentally not as developed. I mean he's on a higher grade like he has a job, you know, he's like a stalker at it, but he's still there's still a lot that he's very clearly shows his autism and everything.
mm-hmm,
And even with Jacob, he doesn't really understand the full extent of his brother's like condition and everything, and I
mm-hmm,
have to like really sit down and be like, okay, like here's how you have to phrase things. And
mm-hmm,
because like but I grew up, you know, helping special needs kids and things like that of like all different kinds, and I'm like slowly trying to like teach him like, yes, even though you grew up with him, here's the real like psychology portion of it, not just the like the living with portion, you know. And because there's times he's like, oh, I don't understand why he does this. I'm like, bro, he's autistic. Like, what do you want? Like, that's just who he is. He can't help it. Like, yes, there's things he could probably improve on if he's taught, but guess what? Y'all never taught him. Like,
And there, this is the one thing that I really do dislike about society in general, is that this expectation of like, well, you're supposed to sort of like, you know, take that responsibility and like do it on your own. And I'm like, yeah, how are you supposed to learn something you were never taught? Because a lot of
right,
things is like, oh, you know, you need to learn how to manage your emotions. And I'm like, yeah, and who's gonna teach me how to do that? Like, we
right,
don't get taught in school, we don't really
right.
get taught at home. Like, how are people supposed to know, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Anyway,
like
go ahead.
I will say that when it comes down to like, and this is another good example of like being leaders at the workplace or whatever, and like if you have a good leader, they can leave a mark on you out even outside of work, you know. Like they can teach you life lessons at work to
Mhm.
take
Mhm.
home. And I will say, th- with regards to Ron, I feel like people taught him more. Like one of my favorite things was he was like, April, it just asked, the computer just said, if I would like this salmon, why does it, what the hell? And
Like,
she's
what
like,
is it that one where he's like, why did it say Ron?
or yeah, and she's like, well,
The
he's like,
cookies.
your computer has cookies and it learns. He's like, so it learns. She's like, yeah, if you think that's bad, type in your address in Google Earth. And then the next thing you know, he's like throwing the whole computer away.
I saw that. Yeah, yeah.
And then I'm just like, oh, actually, we totally forgot to mention the create for the creativity side. Um, he was a sax player.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's
Like
true.
because I just remember he was what was his name?
He was a good name. Duke Silver.
Duke Silver. I'm gonna torch you up with all my hot jazz. Like ah.
We gave him a 2 for creativity. Um, wait, what did we give Leslie? We gave Leslie a 5. Yeah, I think we maybe need to increase this a little bit, maybe to like a 3 or 4.
I want to bump him up to a 4. Can
A
we bump
4.
him up to a 4?
Yeah, because that's right. Like,
I
because for
totally forgot
Leslie,
about his Duke Silver phase.
yeah, well, because for Leslie, we said that
Like her arts and crafts and stuff,
yeah, she's
and
more like arts and like crafty, but not
yeah,
like all that creative. But like, there is some level of creativity when it
especially
comes to,
jazz.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, okay, yeah, okay. I changed it.
Okay, good. Okay, we amended it, folks. We amended it. We put the Duke Silver back in.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, I think that's it for this episode. I'm super excited. I'm not sure what we'll do next, but it's either going to be the Michael Scott or Dr. Cox. We'll decide that later, but look forward to that. Like I said, if you want to check out the last episode, I'll link that in the show
Merch.
notes.
Buy the Dr. Gremlin merch. Please do not forget. Oh yeah, do subscribe to this channel. But more importantly, uh
Yes,
yeah,
please like,
merch.
comment, and subscribe. Check out our merch. It's really cool. It's a lot of fun. We'll have new merch soon.
It's getting hot here, so like I turn off my AC because it was really nice. I think it's like it's 84 right now, which is probably like the nicest it has been all summer. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna turn off my AC. But now it's kind of getting kind of hot in here, and I can't think anymore. But the point is that it has been my lifelong dream to win merch selling competition. So if you could please head over to whatever website is in the description and buy the merch and stuff. I was promised there were gonna be stickers in there as well. So buy some of those. Listen, you don't even have to keep the merch for yourself. Give it out to someone else. Donate it to Goodwill. It doesn't matter, okay? Listen, perfect birthday, Valentine's, Christmas, any sort of present that you're trying to give to people, Dr. Gremlin merch's got your back, okay? Just so
Bro,
check it out
no,
and buy
you
all the
shouldn't
merch.
you shouldn't be a psychologist anymore. You should just be a marketing person. That's your new dream is marketing.
No. That's too much. I just want other people to help me realize my lifelong dream of winning this non-existent competition I created about 2 months ago for no reason
Yeah.
other uh,
Oh my gosh.
other than I thought it was funny. So there you go.
And with that, thank you for taking this journey into the mind brain with us. And good night.